Hello third graders, and welcome to another English video lesson. We're still talking about the right and wrong, and the title of today's lesson is Do you think it's the right thing to do? My name is Irena and I will lead you through it. Hopefully by the end of this lesson you will be able to take part in a longer unplanned conversation and to ask for and to express your own opinion. Just like every time, you're going to need something to write on and something to write with. You will need a device with internet access. From time to time, I will suggest that you pause the video and do the task on the screen. You can always replay it or pause it whenever you feel the need to check something or to make sure that you got it right. So, let's start with the lesson.
And if you remember, I said that the first outcome refers to taking part in a conversation. But let's first see, what is the purpose of conversation? Why do we converse? Well, it could be something to do with information. We try to deliver them or we exchange them. Then, we converse in order to build relationships, to express our emotions. Sometimes we do it to convince or persuade someone to do something, but we also use conversations to seek and give opinions, and sometimes, if necessary, to ask for clarification. Today, we will focus on the last two clouds, seeking and giving opinions and asking for clarification. But let's first see, what are opinions? Do they refer to something universally true? Well, not really. Opinions are actually our thoughts or beliefs, and they do not necessarily need to be true. So we have to make a distinction between an opinion and a fact. When we seek opinions, we actually ask others what they think or how they feel about something. When we ask for clarification, we want to make sure that we properly understood what the person was saying. We can do that by asking for examples or elaboration. And it is a very important thing to do because it is the best way to avoid misunderstandings. Finally, when we give opinions, we express our personal viewpoints. When we give our opinion and when we say what we mean, we can do it in three different ways. We can agree with something that somebody had said, we can disagree, or we can decide to be neutral or not take a stand. So, let's go on. How would you say that? When I mentioned seeking given opinions and asking for clarifications, did any words, expressions, or sentences come to your mind? What did you think of? Divide a piece of paper into three parts and list out your ideas. Pause the video and do the task. Okay, so you probably have sentences like, I strongly believe that. Could you elaborate this a bit more? What do you reckon? What's your view on? If you ask me, I don't really get this. Are you okay with that? As far as I'm concerned. And what do you mean by that? So, where do these sentences go? Where did you put them? Do they refer to seeking opinions, asking for clarification, or giving opinions? If necessary, pause the video and add them to your list. And now let's see. If your answers are like this, then you were right. You did a good job. There are multiple ways in which we can seek opinions. Asking these three questions is just a sample. We can also use many other phrases and sentences to ask for clarification and to give opinions. Okay, let's go to an actual example. I'm going to play a conversation between Gabby and Mike. Your task is to listen and focus on the following questions. What is the topic of the conversation? What kind of problem does Mike's brother have? What should, according to Mike, his brother do? What does Gabby suggest doing? And think a little bit about what you would think about the solution she comes up with. Listen to the audio.
My brother is in an awful situation. He doesn't know what to do and he asks for my help. But I don't think I have the answers he needs.
What happened? Maybe I can help.
Well, one of his classmates has cheated on the end of the year test. He's got evidence, and you know the rules. If he reports that guy will be expelled.
It seems to me that there isn't much to consider. If he cheated, he has to be expelled. He needs to report him. Don't you think so?
There is one problem. That guy is a teacher's son, and that teacher will be the one grading my brother's final exam. Do you still think the situation is that simple?
I'm not sure I follow you. You think the teacher will take revenge on him for reporting his son?
If you ask me, that is bound to happen. He may end up in trouble for doing the right thing.
Still, I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to say. Do you think he should just ignore what he knows and let that guy get away with it? And probably do the same thing over and over again? How do you feel about that?
I don't have strong views either way. I do believe he should do the right thing and report him. That guy really needs to suffer the consequences. But at the same time, I'm afraid he might be punished as well, indirectly.
Well, doing nothing is simply not an option. Is there a possibility to report him anonymously?
What do you mean by that? Just to send the evidence without revealing his identity?
Exactly. Have you considered that option?
No, not really, but it seems like a good idea. A real win-win situation.
I believe it's decided then. Will you let me know the outcome?
Sure. Thanks for your help. I really think your solution will do the trick.
No problem. Anytime.
Okay, so you heard Gabby and Mike. Let's look at the answers. So, the topic of the conversation. Well, Mike's brother is facing a moral dilemma, but Mike doesn't know how to help him and seeks Gabby's opinion. The problem is that one of his classmates cheated on the end of the year test, but is afraid to report him because he is the teacher's son, and that same teacher will be grading his final exam. Mike doesn't know what to do. He doesn't feel strongly about reporting that person for cheating because he is afraid his brother will too suffer the consequences. Gabby suggests, and she believes that this man must be reported and suggests doing it anonymously. What was your solution? What do you think? What should be done? Okay. Now, we're going to listen to the dialogue once again, focusing on the ways Mike and Gabby seek and give opinions and ask for clarification. As you listen, add those sentences to the list you created before.
My brother is in an awful situation. He doesn't know what to do and he asks for my help. But I don't think I have the answers he needs.
What happened? Maybe I can help.
Well, one of his classmates has cheated on the end of the year test. He's got evidence, and you know the rules. If he reports that guy will be expelled.
It seems to me that there isn't much to consider. If he cheated, he has to be expelled. He needs to report him. Don't you think so?
There is one problem. That guy is a teacher's son, and that teacher will be the one grading my brother's final exam. Do you still think the situation is that simple?
I'm not sure I follow you. You think the teacher will take revenge on him for reporting his son?
If you ask me, that is bound to happen. He may end up in trouble for doing the right thing.
Still, I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to say. Do you think he should just ignore what he knows and let that guy get away with it? And probably do the same thing over and over again? How do you feel about that?
I don't have strong views either way. I do believe you should do the right thing and report him. That guy really needs to suffer the consequences. But at the same time, I'm afraid he might be punished as well, indirectly.
Well, doing nothing is simply not an option. Is there a possibility to report him anonymously?
What do you mean by that? Just to send the evidence without revealing his identity?
Exactly. Have you considered that option?
No, not really, but it seems like a good idea. A real win-win situation.
I believe it's decided then. Will you let me know the outcome?
Sure, thanks for your help. I really think your solution will do the trick.
No problem. Anytime.
Okay, so let's see. The sentences you've heard for seeking opinions were, don't you think so? Do you still think the situation is that simple? How do you feel about that? And have you considered that option? Besides the ones that we have already mentioned, these phrases and sentences can also be used to seek someone's opinion. When we want to ask for clarification, we can use some of these sentences that you heard in the dialogue. I'm not sure I follow you, or I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to say. Or we can ask, what do you mean by that? When we express our opinions, we can use the sentences Mike and Gabby used. For example, if you ask me, that is bound to happen. We can say that we don't have strong views either way, or decide that doing nothing is simply not an option. We can say that something seems like a good idea, or that it is decided. Let's practice. If you follow the link or open the code, you will find a task with this same dialogue that you have just heard, where you have to choose between the right option to seek opinion, ask for clarification, and give your own opinion. So, you will once again deal with Mike and Gabby and Mike's brother's moral dilemma. Pause the video and do the task. And here is another task for you. You have a new dialogue, a new moral dilemma, in which you have to complete the text with the options that are given to you. These two tasks will help you master the art of seeking and giving opinions. Let's go on. There are more ways of seeking opinions and giving them. Some of the phrases you can use are, what is your position on? How do you see it? I'd like to hear your views on. What are your thoughts on? If I asked your opinion about, in your experience, and we can say, I've never given it much thought. It seems clear to me. This is just my opinion, but it doesn't make much difference to me. Without a doubt, or I honestly feel that we don't want to give our opinions. So, you now have a whole list of phrases, sentences, and sentence beginnings to give opinions, to seek them, and to ask for clarifications. Let's see what you can do with them.
Let's have some more practice with expressions for seeking opinions, asking for clarifications, and giving opinions. You're going to see the dialogue between Steve and his friend Lily. He texted her asking for help with his homework. Read the dialogue very carefully, and then you will have a task to complete. I will leave the texts on the screen for some time, but if necessary, pause the video to read them carefully. So, this was the dialogue. In it, you have read the things like, what do you mean by that? Is that the one? What would you choose? If you ask me, what are you saying? And that's how I'd settle it. You have learned many phrases to express your opinion, to ask for someone else's opinion, and to ask for clarification. Can you say these things in a different way? If you follow this link or scan the code, you will open a task where you will see all the texts listed on the screen. Paraphrase them and rewrite them differently using different expressions. This will be a great way to master the art of asking for and giving opinions. And then we will move on to another task. You're going to write your own dialogue. Think about a situation when you weren't sure whether what you wanted to do was the right thing. Moral dilemmas that you invented during one of the previous lessons can be a good start. How would you ask another person's opinion? Using the dialogues from the tasks as templates, you should write your own dialogue. This checklist might help you make sure that you get everything right. You should explain the situation, use the correct expression to seek other person's opinion. You should express your own opinions with the appropriate phrase. You should use the correct expressions to ask for clarifications. You should clarify whatever was unclear and come up with a solution. In case you check all the yes answers on this list, you have achieved today's outcome about taking part in a conversation. This is the end of our lesson. I hope you have enjoyed it and that you have found it useful. I also hope that you will join us again next time. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.